Hello, friends. Welcome back to English Avenue. Today, we are going to listen to one of the most inspiring stories in history. This is not just a story, it is a lesson about courage, hope, and hard work. It is about a brave girl named Helen Keller. Helen faced many challenges in her life. From a very young age, she lived without the ability to see or hear. Imagine for a moment how hard that must be, not seeing colors, faces, books, or the sky, not hearing music, voices, or laughter. Most people would give up, but Helen did not. She kept going, she kept learning, and she changed her life completely. Through this story, you will also learn important English words. I will say them many times. You can listen and repeat to practice. These words will help you understand the meaning of the story and improve your English. Are you ready? Let's begin Helen Keller's journey. Vocabulary introduction before we start. Let's learn some new words that will appear in this story. Blind, when a person cannot see. Deaf, when a person cannot hear. Teacher, a person who helps others to learn. Hope, a feeling that good things will happen. Hard work, trying very much to do something. Signal, a small sign or action to send a message. Learn, to get knowledge or skill. Help, to do something for someone. Who needs it now? Repeat the words after me. Blind, deaf, teacher, hope, hard work, signal, learn, help. Great. Keep these words in your mind, because you will hear them many times in Helen's story. Chapter 1. The early life of Helen. Helen Keller was born in 1880, in a small town in Alabama, USA. At first, she was a healthy and happy baby. She could see her mother's smile, she could hear her father's gentle voice, and she could play just like other children. But when Helen was only 19 months old still, a very small child, something terrible happened. She became very sick with a high fever. The doctors at that time did not have modern medicine. Slowly, her family realized the sickness had changed Helen forever. Helen could no longer see. She had become blind. She could no longer hear. She had become deaf. Her world became dark and silent. Imagine, she could not see her mother's face. She could not hear her father calling her name. She could not understand the voices of people around her. Helen tried to express herself, but she did not know words. She made signals with her hands, pulling or pushing to show what she wanted. Sometimes she screamed or cried when people did not understand. It was a very hard and lonely time for her, but Helen's parents loved her deeply. They believed that somehow she could learn. They looked for a teacher, someone who could help their little girl. They still had hope. Chapter 2. The teacher, Anne Sullivan. Finally, when Helen was 7 years old, her parents found a teacher named Anne Sullivan. Herself had suffered with weak eyesight when she was young, so she understood the world of darkness. She was strong, patient, and determined. When Anne arrived at the Keller house, she quickly realized that Helen was intelligent, but she had no language to express her thoughts. Anne decided to teach Helen using a special method, sign language, with her hands. For example, Anne would take Helen's hand and slowly spell letters by pressing her fingers. She would do this again and again. At first, Helen was confused. She felt the movements, but she did not know they represented words. She thought it was just a game. One day, Anne had an idea. She took Helen outside to the water pump. She pumped cool water over Helen's hand. At the same time, she spelled WRTR on Helen's other hand. Helen suddenly paused. She felt the water running over her skin. She felt the letters in her hand. And then, like a spark, she understood. The letters meant the thing she was feeling. This was the first time Helen made a connection between a signal and an idea. She understood the word water. Her face lit up with joy. She touched the ground, asking for the word. She touched her dress, asking for another word. She wanted to learn everything from that day forward. A new world opened for Helen. Chapter 3. The challenge of learning was not easy. Helen had to put in hard work every single day. Imagine studying when you cannot see books and cannot hear teachers. Still, Helen never gave up. Anne taught Helen many words using her hands. Soon, Helen began to learn Braille system of raised dots that blind people can read with their fingers. With Braille, she could finally read stories and information, but there were struggles too. Sometimes Helen felt frustrated because progress was slow. She wanted to run ahead, but learning takes time. She had moments of anger, sadness, and even hopelessness, and encouraged her, saying, "Helen, hard work is the key. Do not stop." Step by step, Helen learned to read, write, and even speak. Yes, though her voice was not clear, she learned to talk by feeling the vibrations of other people's mouths and throats. Helen's dream grew bigger. She wanted to go to school. She wanted to go to college, a dream that seemed impossible for a deaf and blind girl at that time. Chapter 4. Helen's big success. Helen Keller's journey amazed everyone. She entered a famous college called Radcliffe College, with the help of interpreters and Anne Sullivan by her side. She studied literature, history, philosophy, and more. Her days were long and difficult. Books had to be translated into Braille. Anne had 2 fingerspell lectures into Helen's hand. It was a mountain of work, but Helen climbed it with courage. Finally, in 1904, Helen Keller graduated from Radcliffe. She became the first deaf-blind person in history to earn a college degree. This was a huge victory not just for Helen, but for all people with disabilities. Helen did not stop there. She wrote books about her life. She gave speeches all over the world, showing people that disability is not the end of life, is a new way of living. She spoke about hope, courage, and equality. People everywhere felt inspired. Presidents, writers, children, and ordinary people admired her strength. She showed that with hard work and hope, anyone can succeed. Chapter 5. The transformation. Helen Keller transformed from a little girl lost in darkness and silence into a powerful woman of light and hope. She used her life to help others. She worked for the rights of blind and deaf people. She traveled to many countries, encouraging people never to give up. She reminded everyone that helping others is one of the greatest gifts we can give. Helen once said, "Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all." Her life was truly a daring adventure. She taught us important lessons. Use hope to keep moving forward. Use hard work to reach your goals. Accept help and also help others. Always keep learning. Conclusion and reflection. Helen Keller's story is a shining example of courage. She was blind and deaf, but she never gave up. She worked hard every day. She had a wonderful teacher who guided her, and with hope, she changed her life and inspired millions. So friends, think about your own life. If you face a problem, remember Helen Keller. Repeat these words after me. Hope, hard work, help, learn, never give up. Keep learning, keep trying. You can achieve amazing things. Thank you for listening to this story on English Avenue. I hope Helen Keller's journey inspires you as much as it has inspired the world. Goodbye, friends. See you next time, and remember, keep shining.